Hi everybody, welcome. So we're just arriving here in this space to share the practice in MBCT today. So just as we would if we were arriving in a room together, just inviting us all just to take a look around the screen and just say hello. So just looking around the screen, having a smile, a silent greeting to each other just as we arrive for our practice today. Welcome. Yeah, a hi as well. So our session today is called Gathering the Scattered Mind. So we're so often in our busy lives lost in thought, and the mind's working away in the background. It's solving our to-do list, or it's moving up into the future with planning, unfinished tasks. And today, in today's session, we're beginning to explore how we can return and reconnect with mindful presence in the moment. Okay. So to begin with, as we usually do in our sessions, we're going to begin with some practice. So I'm going to hand over to Jerry now to introduce our practice.
Thank you, Kay. So this is a mini meditation practice, which is a practice which is kind of generalizing the formal practices that we will be learning and have been learning on the program. And it's a way of bringing formal practice also to everyday life. Just like Kay was saying, a way of kind of stepping out of automatic pilot during the day. So this is a formal practice. It's a mini meditation. It's called the 3-minute breathing space, and it just helps us step out of automatic pilot when the mind is scattered and maybe we're kind of engaging with those negative thoughts. So it's a way of just stepping out and kind of introducing, because it is a mini meditation, introducing it to daily life. So what you'll notice with this practice is a bit like a shape of an hourglass. We kind of start with where we are in this moment, what we're experiencing in this moment, and then we'll narrow the point of attention into focusing on the breath, and then we'll widen the focus towards the breath and the body. So it kind of moves through the guidance like an hourglass. So I'm going to just ask you to come to the posture, the sitting posture. And with the sitting posture, ears in line with the earlobes, in line with the tops of the shoulders, and the tops of the shoulders in line with the hips as best as we can. So just bringing that posture. And with the eyes, if you feel comfortable, gently closing the eyes, or you can leave the eyes open if that feels more comfortable, or somewhere between those two positions, which is kind of a half gaze, which is eyes half open and half closed, and then just dropping the gaze down in front of you. If you can see your feet, just dropping the gaze so it's just kind of maybe a foot away from the feet. So let's begin practice. So just coming to the sitting posture, gently closing the eyes if that's comfortable. If not, bringing a half gaze or just dropping the gaze of the eyes to just in front of the feet, and becoming aware of the body sitting and noticing the posture, earlobes in line with tops of the shoulders and the tops of the shoulders in line with the hips. And from this sitting position, just noticing what thoughts are around in this moment. Now, there's no need to think about the thoughts or to engage with the thoughts, just noticing what thoughts are here at the moment. And if there's no thoughts, just notice no thoughts. And then gently letting go of thoughts or no thoughts and moving the attention to any feelings or emotions that might be present in this moment. No need to think about the feelings or emotions or to change them in any way. Just notice Are there any feelings or emotions around in this moment? And then gently letting go of any feelings or emotions and moving the awareness to the body and just noticing any sensations in the body in this moment. If there's no sensations, just notice no sensations. No need to change anything, just noticing what's here in this moment in the body. And then gently letting go of any body sensations and moving the awareness to the breath. And noticing the breath coming in and out through the nostrils. So noticing the breath or the air entering the nostrils, following the breath all the way up and into the body, and then following the out breath. So it's just following the breath as best as we can, in and out. Now, if the nostrils are blocked, you can always breathe through the mouth, in and out through the mouth, but following the breath as best we can. If the mind is wandering or scattered, just notice where the mind is, and then gently letting go of the distraction and gently escorting the attention back to the breath. And then bringing attention to the next full 3 in and out breaths, counting in 1, counting out 1. So following the next 3 full in and out breaths. And then preparing to gently let go of the breath and moving the awareness into the body. So we're just widening the point of attention to bringing in the whole of the body. And maybe noticing the movement of the body as the breath comes in and out of the body. So noticing the body and noticing the body sitting in a chair or on whatever surface that the body is sitting on or supported by. So noticing the whole of the body, and then gently widening the field of attention a little bit further and noticing the whole of the body sitting on a chair or the surface that it's being supported by, and noticing the room that the body is sat in. And maybe noticing sounds from around, all around, inside of the room and outside of the room. And if there's no sounds and there's silence, just noticing no sounds and silence. What's here in this moment? And then gently gathering in the spotlight of attention from sounds and the room, and bringing the attention into the body and noticing where the body makes contact with the surface that it is sat on. So noticing that point of contact of the body sitting on a surface. And then gently moving the attention down through the legs and into the feet, and noticing the left foot making contact with the ground and noticing the right foot making contact with the ground. And as we bring this breathing space to an end, gently opening the eyes if they're closed, or just bringing the gaze back to the screen if the eyes are closed or in a half gaze. So that's a 3-minute breathing space. It may have been just a little bit longer than that, but this is a practice, is a mini meditation that we can bring to daily life. And we're just going to move to what we call the inquiry. And all that means is simply for people just to reflect on what they noticed during that practice, what was noticed. That's all, just noticing what came up for people during that practice. So I'm going to ask you to just reflect on that, what happened, what people noticed during the practice, and just unmute if you'd like just to share a few words about what you noticed during that practice.
I noticed I was holding my breath once we got to the middle bit, and that I just noticed I was holding it in.
Yeah, good noticing, Sarah. So you just noticed that when we came to the attention on the breath, it was being held. Yeah. Yeah. Were you able to breathe out from that holding of the breath?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Good noticing. Thanks, Sarah. Anything similar or different? What was easy? What was difficult? What did people notice during that practice? Kim?
I found it difficult not to change my breathing when we were asked to focus on the breathing. And I found I was breathing slower and deeper when we were invited to focus on our breath.
Yeah, so you noticed very deliberately. Did you notice very deliberately changing the rhythm of the breath to making it longer in and out? Or did you notice that was the breath when you brought the attention to the breath?
No, I'm pretty sure it changed when we had to focus on the breath.
Okay, good noticing. Yeah, thanks, Kim. And maybe one more, and it can be similar to what's been said by Sarah and Kim already, or it can be different. Molly?
I noticed at the start of the exercise I had quite a lot of tension in my shoulders, and at the end, it doesn't feel as heavy as weighted on my shoulders.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the practice, just notice the tension here in the shoulders. And then as we went through the practice, what did you notice at the end of the practice with the shoulders in terms of that, the intensity of the tension there?
They seemed to drop. They weren't as high up, and I think breathing through that just helped them relax and feel less tension there.
Yeah, good noticing. And it's what people have been saying are this is kind of what the practice is about. It's just noticing where we are in this moment. And as Molly noticed there, that sometimes this practice can just shift the gears of the mind and the body and bring us very much into the present moment. Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Yes, thanks, Jerry. So as we do, we'll move into discussing our home practice for mindfulness-based cognitive therapy for this week. And we'll be asking you to practice. So we've introduced today the 3-step breathing space. And as with all our practices, there's an element of learning the shape of the practice. So our invitation to you this week is to practice the breathing space 3 times a day. How does that sound? I'll have a look around the screen. Does that sound all right for people? And as we know already, that we'll support each other with the practice, because like with many things that we intend to do for our well-being, it can always get drop down the list with the pressures and the priorities. So just to point you towards the 3-step breathing space guidance in the workbook. So you'll find that on page 21 and page 22. So all the guidance that Jerry's given to us today in practice, you can actually, if you'd like to, spend a little bit of time looking at the shape of the practice, looking at the individual steps, step 1, arriving, step 2, gathering, step 3, expanding. And so it might be useful to have a think about when might be a good time in the day for you to engage with the practice. So we know that if we can anchor a new behaviour to an existing behaviour that we already do, that it helps us to do it. So is there any sense for anyone when they might practice the breathing space, when might be a good time for them? So just unmute and pop your hand up if you've got any ideas around that.
maybe just before going to bed.
Oh, yeah. Who've we got? Sorry, can you just pop your hand up? Oh, yeah, Lindsay, thank you.
Yeah.
Just before going to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that a sort of routine, Lindsay? That'd be a time when you could anchor that to a time of the day?
I think that'd be a good time. Yep.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other ideas when it might work? Yeah, thanks. Stephies? Oh, you on mute?
Before a meeting?
Before, yeah. I think there's a few smiles around and we're all recognising that just before a meeting. So we'll really look forward to hearing at our next session how that goes, what you notice going into a meeting, having had a breathing space. Okay. Lovely. So good luck this week with the breathing space. We have another activity for home practice this week, and this is called the Pleasant Events Calendar. And we really know we're all going through this time where there's a lot of uncertainty with the pandemic, and our minds can become quite sticky for all the information in the news of the difficulties of life. Our attention can be pulled in that direction. So this week we're going to invite us all to bring our full attention, as we did in the breathing space, to a pleasant event. So just to prepare for that, perhaps we could just take a moment to again just come to sitting. So just feel the feet on the ground. So again, just broadening out to sensing the feet on the ground. The eyes can stay open or softly close. And just noticing the weight of the body sitting. Just noticing the uprightness of the spine. Just a sense of the movement of the breath in the body, however it is. And just calling to mind a recent time where there was a pleasant experience. So it may have been a delicious cup of tea, just at a time when it was really needed. Or it may be just noticing something in nature. Maybe a smile, or watching a video that made you laugh of a cat in a Zoom meeting. So just bringing to mind a pleasant event. We don't need to interview too many, just the first one that comes to mind. And just turning up the volume on this pleasant event as we notice just what thoughts are around as we bring this pleasant event to mind. What feelings are here? What does it feel like to just savour for a moment this pleasant event? A feeling of warmth or openness, appreciation, perhaps. And just scanning through the body and noticing any sensations that arise as we bring this pleasant event centre stage. Perhaps there's a lightness or a tingling or an energy showing up in the body. So just giving ourselves the opportunity to just turn up the volume on experiencing this tiny, perhaps pleasant event. An event that can perhaps go unnoticed at times. And then when you're ready, if the eyes are closed, just letting the eyes open. And just reconnecting with the screen. And so this week, as we have just done now, we're asking you don't necessarily have to go into a practice and adopt the posture, but what we're asking you is to just capture, just notice those small pleasant events and just make a note of the thoughts that arise, of what it feels like in the body to be experiencing a pleasant event. And just notice the feeling that passes through. There's usually a mood or a feeling passing through. So just capturing in a little bit more detail this pleasant event. Has anyone got one that they'd be happy to share? And I'll share the sheet that we're going to be working from. Has anyone got one that they'd be happy to share with us? And we can practice. Calliope, thank you. So I'll just, okay. Molly, could you just enable me to share screen a moment? That'd be great, thank you. So, there we go. Has everybody got the screen? Yeah, that's lovely. So thank you. Calliope, would you just mention briefly what the experience was, if that's okay?
So it was on Sunday when I went on a walk by the beach.
By the beach. Okay, thank you. And what was the sort of felt sense in the body? How was the body feeling? What did you notice?
I think kind of rejuvenated. Energized.
Lovely. And what was the feeling? What was the emotion along with that?
Happy.
Thank you. And any thoughts that came to mind at the time when you were experiencing the walk?
I think I was thinking I should do this more often.
Lovely. So we can see here how when we experience a pleasant event, there can be that sense of, oh, yes, I'd like a bit more of this. Yeah, if possible. Yes, please. Yeah, I should do this more often. Isn't that so lovely how the mind, you know, kind of when we experience a pleasant event, it really does sort of ask, oh, yes, please. And any thoughts now as you recall it?
That I'm glad that I took the time to go for the walk.
Yeah. Lovely. Thank you, Calliope, for sharing that with us. Okay, so that's the worksheet for the Pleasant Events Calendar is on page 24 of the workbook. So you're really welcome. For some people, they just like to make a note on their phone. Other people might like to have a sheet of paper just folded up to go around with you to record. Or again, a bit like the 3-step breathing space, we might just check in once a day, just giving ourselves the opportunity to connect with those pleasant events. Any questions on the home practice before we complete our session for today? Yeah, Kim.
Did you say that we've to do the breathing space 3 times in the day? Is that right?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for clarifying, Kim. So we'd like to give it that repetition. So remember, we're cultivating the qualities of mindfulness and we're lifting the weights. So as we're learning the 3-step breathing space, if you can find an opportunity 3 times a day. So some people do that first thing in the morning or at lunchtime and at tea time. So just find times in the day that work for you. Yeah, thanks, Kim. Any other questions? Lovely. So thank you. We've been exploring the scattered mind and ways that we can bring our attention deliberately to focus and inhabit and taste and savor the moments. And we're going to be exploring using the breathing space as a way of a sort of way into connecting into the present moment more fully. We're also going to be looking at bringing mindfulness, this skill particularly of stabilizing attention in the moment, to those pleasant experiences that we're having this week. Just to finish, we have a poem to share with you. So for some people, poetry is lovely and welcome. For others, it might be a bit meh. So that's fine, whichever it is for you. Then we'll just offer the words and see if there's anything in there. See what's there for you in this poem. So you can feel the feet, the eyes can be open or the gaze lowered. So these words are from Mary Oliver and the poem is called Wild Geese. You do not have to be good. You do not have to walk on your knees for 100 miles through the desert repenting. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. Tell me about your despair, and I will tell you mine. Meanwhile, the world goes on. Meanwhile, the sun and the clear pebbles of the rain are moving across the landscapes, over the prairies and the deep rivers. Meanwhile, the wild geese high in the clean blue air are heading home again. Whoever you are, the world offers itself to your imagination, calls to you like the wild geese, harsh and exciting, over and over, announcing your place in the family of things. Thank you. So, thank you for your attention and your participation in the session today. Go well this week with home practice.